When you finally have an agreement, what's the very next step?
Standard operating procedures. You should have some. Corporate spaces, government entities, they have these. I'm gathering as much information as I can. The minute I show up to and set up a mic, I already start the work.
Are there any challenges you have with a client in terms of communication on the day?
Almost every single time I have an issue, I start to say, all right, is this something that is repetitive? Is it something that needs to now go in the agreement? No, along with the quote or the invoice I'm sending.
Welcome back to the Bitrate Pod. It's your favorite tool. So we're piggybacking off the last episode that we made. We talked about clients. We started off by talking about the mindset you should have getting into doing client work, or you should do reaching out. Maybe some of the things you need in order to prepare. This time is what happens when you actually get the green light. That's my first question to you. When you finally have an agreement, you've drafted a contract about what should be in there. What's the very next step?
We do the location scout, or obviously there's a list of questions I'll ask the client based off of what the nature of the shoot. Like I want to know, what format, what's used, the length, who's going to be in it, is there media release forms necessary, are you going to handle that, or should I handle that? Yeah, there's probably tons of other questions that's not coming to mind. But there are questions you want to have answered.
Yeah.
Then if you're showing up to location, I like to go to location scout
beforehand,
as early as possible.
Okay.
Like not on the day. So as soon as possible, I want to get to the location and I want to scout things like windows, framing, like what's the best the best angle to frame shots, power availability,
like how it's gonna be lit, that sort of thing.
Yeah, like if I have working power outlets in the
audio
space, or if I have to run long power cables, or if I need to rent a generator or whatever it is. I want to get just a feeling of what the sound in the area feels like. Is a whole heap of junker bike, a whole heap of truck, whole heap of traffic, or whatever it is. And then since like the time of day, we're trying to figure out if we're shooting at certain times of day, are we getting flooded with light here, or is there a way to block off windows that we need? So this will kind of inform what I'm bringing to set. Also try to figure out how close I can get the vehicle to the locations to offload.
Okay.
That will kind of inform how much hands I need or how much people I need. So I'm gathering as much information as I can.
Yeah.
To make sure my day on I'm more efficient on day.
How far from the day of shooting do you normally do this?
As early, because it depends on the nature. Because if it's nothing complex, if I know it's an indoor shoot in a room and it's just a one person talking to camera, then I know it's not there's not a lot of things that could be an obstacle. So I'll probably go a few days before. But if it's a complete different scenario than I'm used to, if it's a complete different location that I have never been to, if I know there's the potential of me needing to potentially buy things that I need to ship in,
right,
or at least get things rented that I need, then I'll try to get as much time ahead of time so that I know I have enough time to get the equipment rented. I have enough time to purchase it and get it in, because obviously buy everything it take like a week and a half, 2 weeks. Having enough time helps. I'm a stickler for cables. Like that. I like my cables well wrapped. I like my cables in good condition, but cables break. So I need to know as soon as possible if I need to replace power cables or HDMI cables or whatever it is.
Are you a half or a portion of a deposit before we actually start shooting type of person?
Yeah, I request 50% upfront and then it kind of depends on the nature. For example, there's two major categories that my company handle. One is event audiovisual production, right, which includes live streaming. And then the other part is video production, like creating video content. So there's a little bit of leeway, slight variation in terms of the terms for those things, but in essence, if it's an event, then I need if it's audiovisual for the event, then it is 50% deposit, and then full payment due the day of the event,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because the minute I show up to and set up a mic, I already start the work. The work is basically done,
Okay. Okay.
right? So I want to have that that's my terms, and that's kind of the industry standard. Some companies, even the bigger, especially the bigger ones, they'll tell you, hey, you need to like, have full payment from like a week before,
Okay.
right? Before they load, before they
They
set up
even
one cable,
wow.
they need full payment. So hopefully I can get there soon. And then in fact, some of the times like my terms are 50% deposit, 100% upfront, and a lot of the times people just send me the full payment right away.
Nice.
I love those clients.
Yeah.
If everybody were like that, I'd be a happy guy.
Yeah.
But then for video production, and I don't know if there are people who do it differently. But this is kind of the way I've seen it done more often. Is again a 50% deposit up front, and then 50% after the delivery and approval of the files, right? There's slight variation. Some people do another 50% deposit up front, another 25% on the day that you shoot, and then the final 25% after delivery of the files.
Okay.
Right?
So just to recap, guys, ensure that you ask a bunch of questions about what the delivery looks like, what they expect, where they're posting or sharing stuff like this, what kind of event it is. You go to the actual location prior, maybe several days to weeks, depending on the type of shoot. You know, you understand the sound, the lighting, the cabling, electricity, all of that stuff. Payment beforehand. You have that written down in a contract or agreed on beforehand. So now we are at shoot day.
By the way, let me teach you some stuff in
For
case
sure.
if you're
Drop the gems.
in case you're new to the corporate space and you don't know what these terms mean and things mean. You know what the SOP is?
No. Well, I have an acronym in my mind, but I know it don't apply.
All right. So SOP is standard operating procedures. Right. So that's a term you'll hear corporate people use all the time. I had no idea what it meant until I kept hearing it. I need to figure this out. But so SOP is standard operating procedure. You should have some. These are your agreements, your terms, your typical way of doing things. And corporate spaces, government entities, they have these SOPs. They'll call it policies, kind of like policies, right?
Yeah.
Policies are, some are very hard and fast about policy or the SOP. Some of them are case by case to a certain, like there's some flexibility depending on, discretion or whatever it is. But you should have some SOPs
Okay.
as a starting out beginner photographer.
You should have.
You should have some standard operating procedures, some terms that you know.
Are there? You can give us any examples for the beginners out
All right.
there?
So, for example, the typical, for example, payment process for a lot of corporate and government entities include you sending a quote. A quote is then internally approved, depending on the figure of the quote. It has to be signed off and approved by multiple people in, directors and managers and so on. But once that quote is approved, whoever reached out to you will usually let you know, hey, we've approved this quote, we've sent it off for the deposit to be made. All of this is assuming everything is going to plan, because sometimes they reach out to you last minute, hey, we have an event this weekend and today is Thursday. So you have to then say, all right, do I want to take this rush thing without you giving me a deposit, or do I have enough to go off of to say, hey, I have emailing, right? Still, so you get stuff in writing. So if a client call you and say, hey, I'm from the Ministry of Health and we're having an event this weekend, can you come and shoot? And you say yes, and you just show up there, you're like, I wouldn't, like you're on your own, bro. Who is this person?
Right.
You have no paper trail.
That's true.
So why should the Ministry of Health pay you any money? So I get everything in writing. From I want an email. I mean, and again, this is for the rush stuff, right? So, but the typical procedure, you get your quote, they send it off for a deposit to be made, and then in some entities you'll get an email that said, hey, we sent the deposit, right? Once the deposit's made, you confirm, blah blah blah. All right, if we get all the details, date, time, and be very specific about time, because you want to represent your brand as punctual.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Please do not be the typical Jamaican tradesman we don't know time. Right? If the event start 9 o'clock, I'm trying to be there at 8:30, and I've been late. But my goal, if event start 9, doors open 8:30, I want to be there 2 hours early, or
Yeah.
3 hours early, or sometimes I going in there the night before to set up. Right?
What about staying back
Saying after the event.
after? Yeah.
Yeah, well, and then these are things you also want to cover. Like, what if the event goes over time?
Yeah.
I charge a fee per hour of time over,
Yeah.
and it's a fee per crew member. Right? So, because it's not just me. If I'm having to pay, or sometimes it's a flat fee depending. If I know it's like me and 2 other people, it's a flat fee. I am not hard and fast about time. So
Yeah.
if you tell me it's going to end 8, and usually it doesn't go too far over that. So them end 8:15, 8:30. I'm not going to charge them for that. Right? But if you start pushing past 9 o'clock now, 10 o'clock, and look like you want to wind down, then yeah, we have to go talk about some money now. There's also cases where equipment is rented.
Right.
Right? And so the event is supposed to finish at 5, and the company who rented the equipment is coming at 6 or 7 to pick up the equipment. So if they come at 6 o'clock and the equipment isn't ready, then I'm getting a charge.
Right.
Right? So that has to be communicated. And what I used to do is I used to send the quote, send the estimate, and the email back and forth, and that's kind of my agreement. Now, along with the quote or the invoice, I am sending the contract. And when I'm referring and they say, all right, cool, we paid the deposit, I'm like, hey, cool, we got it. Can you sign the contract?
Okay,
Can
like
you
a
review and sign
e-sign,
the
DocuSign vibes.
No, I want whatever whoever you want. It's just a PDF for me. If they want to print it and sign it, or e-sign it, or however they want to do it.
Okay.
I probably should work out a DocuSign thing. I just haven't done that. But usually
Yeah.
I just attach the PDF or the contract, and they print it, sign it.
Do you think it would be possible for us to like create like a mock-up of an example to like put in the description to shared persons just to see what it might look like, or
Well, maybe what I can do is,
or you can just I don't know, use existing ones or ChatGPT to help you create one.
maybe what I'll do is like add like one of my standard template of my contract. Maybe I'll just add that in the chat, in the description.
Okay.
There's a link in the description that
Okay.
you can look at. I do want them to sign it because it protects you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it protects you.
Yeah. There is a concern or fear I have as a beginner when being hard and fast about the only way I will proceed with you on this project is if you sign and if you give me 50%. That feels like I'm stepping into a more aggressive, assertive space than I feel that I'm ready for. I know at some point I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and say, hey, if I'm going to treat this thing like a business and I actually want to make some, money here, I'm going to have to say to you, hey, this is how I operate. It's just a level of confidence.
And I get you, because you're not a naturally confrontational person.
Right. I'm like,
and so you and I'm also that way. I'm not naturally confrontational. So I kind of do little things to nudge without me having to get into
like
the confrontational. So
Gotcha.
even when I'm sending the quote and the contract, I'll put in the email, hey, please see attached quote and contract, and bear in mind, no agreement is binding unless contract is signed.
Okay.
So without me having to confront them about, hey, you didn't sign the contract, so we're not going anywhere, I already said it up front.
Yeah.
So it's a little more preemptive, it's a little more proactive, so that honestly, I don't think I've ever had to tussle with a client about signing a contract.
Okay.
Then also there is also the relationship factor.
That is true.
Especially when you're dealing with like a small business owner, like a sole operator, a sole trader. You're like, if you've developed a relationship with that person and you're trying not to be too hard and fast and too heavy. I'm not. And even with some corporate people, what I've started to do because I've had clients before. I had corporate clients before I developed all my agreements and contracts. So now when I start to want to drop this contracting on them, some of them are like, hey, where this come from? We've never had to do none of this. But
how are we so formal now?
Right.
Yeah.
So right, because we're bridging with, like, you link me on WhatsApp and tell me what you want. Do you get me? And you ask me about, like, me ask you about your trip and all kinds. So we have a relationship. But what I've explained to them is that, hey, this contract isn't really for you, because me and you, we,
Cool.
we're cool, but you could decide to step away from the company tomorrow, and no, I'm dealing with someone else,
Right, and you're left
and
holding the bag.
we don't have any agreement in writing or paper.
Sure.
So I want to make sure that I'm protected, and you don't have to worry about if you leave, that you're leaving your vendor hanging.
Sure.
You get me? So it's not me and you tight, we're cool, but me and your company, yeah.
Speaking of line of communication, do you use specific channels like WhatsApp, email, or Slack?
Email
or,
for agreements. I mean, we can do communications like fine tuning and nitty gritty stuff on WhatsApp, depending. And I'm trying to separate my business WhatsApp from a personal WhatsApp.
Yeah.
But there's clients that have my personal number, so it's
So
like
it makes sense, or it's just a lot
Yeah.
more convenient to
yeah. But newer clients, I'm trying to
funnel
nudge
them
towards
through
the business WhatsApp, so I
email.
can keep my life segmented
Yeah.
to a certain degree.
So
And
that
then
would be
hopefully at some point.
a recommendation you have for people that are like, in order to keep things sort of sectioned and clean, you want to maintain that email relationship.
Yeah. So because and again, I'm positioned as a production company, which is a little bit different from some people might be a photographer, right? And you're a freelance photographer or you're a freelance videographer. You might not necessarily need to be considered a production company. So you don't necessarily have to be overly formal and all that kind of stuff, but it helps if you present yourself as a business owner. Even if you have even if you don't have a registered business, which you probably should, I would recommend it, but you still want to present yourself as a professional. So even if your business isn't registered, but you're Shaquille and you do photography, you want to have an email at least that says Shaquille at shakillsphotography.com. Hopefully you have a business name in mind.
Yeah.
Even if it's just your name, Shaquille Willis Photography. You want to present yourself that way. You want to have an invoice that says Shaquille Willis Photography.
The contract.
You want to design a logo. Canva will do that for like free. Like I think the free version of Canva can design you a decent logo.
Yeah.
And I mean, and then if you
have the little sign thing at your email. Some people have like a little thing at the end
your
of them
signature,
email.
the email,
Tough.
all of those stuff is like it presents you in the most professional way, and people start to take you seriously. And at some point, if you do decide to start a company and which I'm in the process of offloading certain aspects of my business, like my customer service and my video editing, and I'm trying to offload some of that. So I'm creating systems, because that's the best way to consider it. I'm creating systems that will operate without me.
Right.
That's what is a standard. That's what a standard operating procedure is for. Is for everybody is on the same page. Everybody in your company knows what happens when we get a request for a quote. We know who to send it to. They know how to send it. They know what tool to use and what to put in it and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. All right. So know that you're there on the day, shoot day. Are there any, I don't want to say difficulties, but like challenges you have or have had with a client in terms of communication on the day? Maybe you show up and where you expect a particular talent to be, they're not, or that talent shows up late, or a piece of gear is needed that you might not have known about. Maybe some location switching happens on the day, maybe not the physical location, but how you are, left to set up. How do you communicate that? Is it a simple, hey, you physically talk to the person who is running that event or dealing with that, or the person you're interfacing with, and say, hey, this is a concern that I now have, or I realize this is an issue? Or do you just send a quick message, a phone call? How do you deal with those bits of communication during production?
Good question. And I'm still working through kinks, because I'm figuring this thing out as I go. And so as I run into issues, I now start to say how. And it's, 'cause sometimes issues is not just a piece of gear, right? Because I run into issue where I plug in the HDMI cable and it don't work. So now I start walk with multiple extra HDMI cables, right? That's a fix. That's how you run into a failure and and you mitigate it next time. Sometimes that is with the communication with clients, right? So almost every single time I have an issue, I start to say, all right, is this something that is repetitive? Is this something that needs to now go in the agreement? Is it something that I need to have internally as part of my standard operating procedure?
SOPs.
So, for example, had a shoot with a client photography. It was event photography, and showed up with my camera, and my camera is kit out for photography, right? I don't work with no tripod. I don't work with nothing more than what we need for shoot picture. Client, no, not the person who hired me. Another person on the team says, "Hey, all right, we're going to set up to do some videos over here, right? We're going to get some like testimonial videos from them." And I'm like, "Here's the thing. I was hired to do photography, right? And there's two issues now with your request. Issue number one is videography testimonial requires microphones, which I have not packed because I was here for photography, right? That's issue number one. Issue number two is actually more important. Videography is a different scope of work, which requires more money. Yeah, and so you see, we need to have a so here's what I would recommend, because I'm very professional. I'm not angry.
Right.
So I said, here's what I recommend: speak to the point of contact, the person who hired me, and let them know, hey, videography is going to be an extra cost, but more importantly, I am not equipped for videography today.
Right.
So I could try to shoot the testimonial video, but I cannot guarantee any sort of audio quality because I don't have a mic. So I shot the video. I mean, it's literally just holding the camera and, shooting while they talk, right? Videoing while they talk about like 10-15 second clip. And then I said to them, hey, if I go home and audio quality is salvageable, then I'll send you an invoice for X amount. Is that good? And they're like, yeah, we can do that. If it is not salvageable, then I won't charge you for videography, right? So went home, the audio's crap. This is on camera audio. I didn't even have a shotgun mic on the camera. It was just the in-body audio.
Yeah.
So it was crap. Like you couldn't even hear the person with all the noise in the background. So I'm like, hey, next time let me know in advance.
Yeah.
And so anybody that needs requests, and so now I know who the real point of contact is for the event.
Okay.
So
so
in
presumably
fact,
the person who hired you wasn't the real.
They were. I think they're the person who found me.
Yeah.
But they weren't like the proper coordinator of the event.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
And so that is important to know, because that's now something I ask people. Hey, are you going to be the point of contact? Are you going to be the person I liaison with at the event?
That's
on
a
the
solid
day?
thing to know during, like, who is it that
who do I need to speak to and get
to?
instructions from, and
Got
and whatever else I need. Who do I talk to on the day?
Okay.
Right? Is it you? Is there someone else who also will be kind of supervising?
Yeah. Or like sharing the responsibility to. Okay.
So I know in advance, and then hopefully I can get both of them on an email. On an email trend. Hey, I'll literally introduce. I'll ask him for his email. If I don't already have them copied or CC'd on an email, I'll ask him for him and the other person email. Send an email, introduce myself. I'm Dwight. Blah blah blah. This is what I understand the scope of the job to be. This is what I understand you want. Is there anything I'm missing? Anything else you want? And we hash it out over email prior to. So these now give me 1, paper trail, 2, more communication, 3, better client perception, because they're like, all right, this guy proactive, I mean professional, he might communicate well, all that kind of stuff. So these are things I learned as I fail.
That's good.
As I had issues.
How do you deal with that? The scenario that a little inside baseball, guys. I'm gonna leave out some details so that it is not immediately aware. You brought me onto a project recently where someone didn't bring a particular thing, and you had to sort of swoop in to save the day. It's just that you happen to be prepared in that scenario. Was that not your scope of support? Is it that person's scope of support to deal with that sort of thing, but you sort of stepped in. Like, how do you deal with that client-wise? Do you?
So what's interesting, and I'll give more context without again revealing who it was, but it was a wedding live stream, and the person, the venue provided the audio person, who provided a speaker and a wired mic and a mixer, right? And he set that up and left.
Right.
I don't know if that was the agreement. I assume that was the agreement. It was like, because sometimes it's just a set and go.
Right. Right.
That's what you paid for, which is fine. So I'm not knocking that the guy did anything wrong. But then the pastor shows up and he wants a wireless mic because he's going to move around, and he doesn't want to stand at the podium because the podium is actually for the people who are reading scripture and any other items, right? So he wanted a dedicated wireless mic. I happen to have it, provided it, and honestly, the client didn't even know. I didn't send an additional invoice. I didn't do anything. Here's why I did that. I'm working it out in my brain as to how I approach charging or not charging for it. But the reason I did it is this. If the audio in the live stream sounds bad,
Then that's probably on you.
that's me.
Yeah. Right.
Nobody says, oh, well, the sound guy screwed up. No, everybody's looking at me like, hey,
who run the live
like
stream?
people have come to me and say, hey, I have people on the live stream. They say the audio they're not hearing. I'm like, I don't handle audio.
Right.
Like, I can't do that.
How do you look at that point?
I look like somebody who don't know what they're doing.
Right. Right.
Like, who didn't plan for audio. And we know how it is with any kind of video content. If the audio sucks, the video sucks.
Yeah.
And so I have started to. I was talking to one of my brethren. He's a sound engineer, really top-notch sound engineer. Anybody who do sound in Jamaica should know him, Shane. But we were literally chatting the other night, and he was saying that, hey, I was telling him that scenario, and he was saying, hey, you have to plan. You have to plan to fix the sound or to do the sound, right? And so I have done things in the past to mitigate having bad audio from the sound engineer, because sometimes the audio is real crap. I've done lots of live streams where the audio is crap, and it comes in on the stream, and everybody looks to me like, hey, you know, this audio wasn't great, and it's not my fault, and I can tell them that, but it still doesn't sit right with me. So now I'm starting to think I'm going to potentially start asking people to allow me to do the sound as well. I'll give them a package discount. It's going to come across better for me, right?
Because that gives you
I have
more
more
control.
control.
Right.
I know what I need for the live stream to sound good, and then sometimes I can communicate in advance with the sound person, and generally I know if them have use, I can get what I need. If I can say, hey, I need an out from your board, and him say, oh yeah man, we want quarter or XLR. This gives me confidence, because this guy know what I need, right? Me I do the live stream, we need a sound feed, and then this one particular guy asked me, you need quarter or XLR? We need a main mixer, exactly what happened, or you just want the microphones? I'm like, he's my guy. This is my guy. It's my guy. I want to work with this guy all the time. And I got sound from him clean.
Yeah.
No humming, no weird,
Buzzing,
no clipping, no nothing. Just clean sound. But because audio is one of the services I offer, I now start to put that in the conversation that, hey, let me do audio for you, please.
Yeah. So you have more control.
And if not, I still walk with some piece of gear that I know might make my job easier.
Nice. Now you've completed the event. Depending on if we're assuming for this, since a live stream is a one and done sort of thing, there are deliverables that were agreed on in contract. You're in communication with your client for you, like how many times after you've ingested all the files, you've scrubbed through everything, how much communication are you in with the client with these files? Are you asking for more clarification, or is it that you front loaded the conversation?
Front loaded everything I want.
Okay, so you know precisely what they want.
So if it's a live stream,
Yeah.
I want to know, do you expect a a full recording, full raw recording of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Depending on where we're live streaming to, they'll have the stream kind of stays on their platform. For example, if it's their YouTube channel, for example, or Facebook channel, then the thing stays on there. But sometimes they want a full cut to chop out what they want and blah blah blah. But once there is an expectation for an edited recording, then we've now ventured into the realm of video editing. So the video editing terms kick in. So you get 2 revisions. You get files delivered in X amount of time, X amount of days, certain X format. And if I'm delivering it via cloud, it stays on the cloud for 30 days or 60 days, or depending on kind of the caliber of the client. But it stays on the cloud for X amount of days, after which I am no longer responsible for that footage. If you lost that footage, I am not liable for it. You can reach out, and then if I have it, I have it. If I'm not, sorry.
Usage is also covered there. As
Usage is covered. Can I use it in my promotional content? Are you okay with me doing BTS? Honestly, I don't ask for permission for BTS, especially if I know it's a sensitive confidentiality type event. I'm discreet about the pictures. I'll just take a picture on my camera.
Yeah.
Right, me on my camera.
Yeah.
No event branding,
showing anyone's faces or anything.
Just me and my camera.
I got you.
So that if I know it's like a public type event or nothing weird, nothing private, then I'm taking pictures. I'm taking behind the scenes pictures and videos. If it's a company event or company meeting, I might be taking videos and I'm removing audio before I post it and all that kind of stuff. But I'm putting that in my as standard. It's in my contract that hey, I retain rights to use it as promotional content unless they request otherwise.
So that communication between you and the client post event is like minimal.
Yeah, post event is like, hey, how we looking, when we're expecting to get the stuff. But again, I have that conversation, hey, it's 7 days or it's 14 days or it's 2 days or it's 1 day or whatever it is. So I'm telling them up front, this is when you can expect it. And then if I'm late, I'm communicating that. If I'm behind on my deadline, which I'm generally not, but then I'm explaining or I'm communicating that so that there is no confusion or anything like that. But generally, I'm not late on deadlines.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys are taking deep notes so far. So this is the final piece of the puzzle, the follow-up, the testimonials. Like, how do you do that? Is that also something you agree on beforehand, or do you allow some time to pass and you just reach out?
Testimonials is something I just started doing.
Okay. Tell me about your experience with that.
I've asked people for video testimonials, and there's quite a bit of my clients who say yes. I just need to show up to their location and shoot the video testimonial. But no, it's like, again, I'm building these systems and these processes as I go along. Google reviews is something I just started doing.
Tell me more. Like,
so you can just create if you have a business, you can create a business on Google and put in all your business information, and then there's a link you can get that you can send to your client and ask them to leave a review on Google.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So they leave you a review on Google. So, if you search for a business on Google.
Yeah, but I didn't know that was something that you could do as a creator, like a business.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what the requirements are. Like, I don't know if you need to be an actual
registered business
or anything like that.
Okay.
I can't recall them asking me for proof of like any kind of business documents. Well, they did ask for a website, so maybe there is that. I don't know for sure.
Okay.
That's something I start doing. I send them a link, ask them for a Google review, and then some of them I ask for a video testimonial, and I'm trying to now put that in the workflow that while I'm there, while I'm at the event or while I'm at the location, I ask for a testimonial.
Okay. Is there a particular format that you ask in, like a written typed thing, or you prefer video because you're video centric?
Yeah,
services?
Video centric. But I have gotten text or email reviews. Hey, we got the footage. We love it. This is amazing. It's exactly what we wanted. Blah blah blah. Hey, the event went smoothly. Everybody's raving about it. Blah blah blah. So when I get those text testimonials, I ask them if I can use their name and their company and put it on my website as a written testimonial.
Okay.
And I have all of those things stored in a folder, and I have not posted. I have not posted them. I'm terrible at it. I'm not terrible at it. I'm just now trying to get it more systemized.
Yeah, I appreciate the fact that you're still open to like learning about stuff like this. Like you're not at that space where you're like, listen, I'm the master of all of this. Of course, I've been doing this all my life.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the fact that you're like, all right, still trying to figure this out, guys. Don't
I'm still figuring it out. Because I want to create like a proper even my Instagram. Again, I'm doing everything. So I'm learning it as I go along, and I'm screwing it up, and I'm redoing it, and as I'm getting new information and as I'm getting better, I'm trying to improve it as I go along. So even my Instagram layout and how it just organized, just disorganized and kind of messy. So now I want to make it look prettier and look more
nice
structured, and like there
curated.
is actually somebody who's intentionally posting.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to create templates on my website for client testimonials and all kinds of stuff. Because again, client perception, and then potential clients look at that and they're like, okay, he's had 6 people who raving about him service. And this, I mean, you do it when you're shopping on Amazon.
You leave a review.
I know when you're shopping on Amazon and you're comparing 2 items,
Right.
this have 25,000 reviews, this have 6. Feel like me I go with the one who have 25,000
Right,
reviews,
right.
because even if they're even half of that are fake reviews, or if 3/4 of it are fake reviews or curated reviews, it means that more people have bought this and seem to like it, right?
I would just love. I don't know what it is about confirmation bias. We
we want
we like word of mouth. We like when someone speaks about a thing and experience.
We are social creatures, and so we like crowd.
Yeah.
We like we like community. You know, we want to be a part of the thing that the most people are a part of.
Yeah. So that I feel is a good pause point. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to round out the client experience. So for the last episode gave everyone a nice primer to how to get into talking to clients, and hopefully this one can guide them through all the minutiae, the documentation process, the communication, maintaining that close relationship with clients, and how to get them to give you positive feedback.
Afterwards.
I
mean, just to maybe throw some sprinkling on the top, research how to handle corporate procedures, because unfortunately not every company does things the exact same way.
right.
Some companies will require you to send the quote, they send a deposit, then after the job is complete, you send a final invoice, and then they'll send you you send an invoice, then they send up what they call a pro forma invoice, and then they send you a purchase order, and then you respond with a final invoice that has that purchase order number on it.
Whoa.
And then some companies, you just send the invoice and they generate the purchase order internally, but they don't send it to you, and then they just send it to payments and you get paid. But some of them not sending no payment unless you get a purchase order. Some of them, so I've done jobs where done the job, sit down for 2 months, I wait for the payment, and then because the person, the what you call it?
The organization.
The point of contact, the person who coordinated and hired me, he went on leave, and so I send an invoice to him. It's down in a email. Him never send me no purchase order. No purchase order never generated. Never sent to no payments. So me sit down for 2 months, and every week me I check my account. Shit, they no pay me. But the process never started.
Right.
Internally, they didn't start the process. So no, I talk to them up front. All right, cool. Do I need to wait on a purchase order before I send a final invoice, or are you going to submit the purchase order internally and get the process rolling? If you do things right, you can call the company. If you do things right, you can call the company, ask to speak with procurement or payments, payables, account payables, and operator will send it there, and you can say, hey, I'm Dwight with HD Media Productions. I submitted an invoice. I'm trying to figure out if it was processed. All right, and they'll say, oh yeah, we have your invoice, it's in queue. Or no, we don't see any invoice from you. So no me if you talk to the organizer, because hey, 3 weeks no one payment stamp the invoice, so no what go on. I was even talking to somebody in procurement. Like she works with a a company, a private company. I don't know if it's a private company, but it's a corporate company. Is corporate and company the same thing?
No,
Can
but
you be a non-corporate company?
yes,
You can.
yeah.
That's like non-profit.
Probably just a company that doesn't have as many like
Layers?
structures, like HR.
I get
Yeah.
you. All right. So, anyways, I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
You were speaking to someone from procurement.
Right. So I was
Yeah.
talking to her. She works with a company in the procurement. She's been in procurement for decades, and I was picking her brain on it. I was like, what can be done to speed up the payment process, or is it just how it is?
Yeah.
It's going to take like 2 months all the time. And she's like, no, if you're a small business, it shouldn't take more than 30 days. She said and I'm saying, is this your company or is this like right across
Across
the
the board.
industry?
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, every company should be paying within small companies, small businesses. They should be paying small businesses within 30 days. And
So
and
what's
that's
the
30 days
bottleneck?
from receiving the invoice.
So what's the bottleneck?
It's just internal processes. And so, for example, think about it. A lot of these companies they're overworked, right? They're understaffed, and so you have somebody who's in procurement who needs to sign off that invoice and then send it to payments, right? And sometimes all that is merged into one. So procurement and payments probably the same. I don't think that happens a lot, but in a small business, like everybody doing everything. But imagine the one person in account payables gone on leave for 2 weeks.
Right. Or they have multiple things to deal with.
Or
so
they're overloaded, so they have 200 invoices that they have to manually. And remember, they have to be precise, so them can't rush the thing. Them have to make sure that they're paying what they should be paying. And then, depending on the company structure, let's say the account payables person submits the payment in the banking, online banking, and that triggers an approval request to some director or manager, and that director or manager can be on leave. So it could be a case sometimes it shouldn't happen this way, but if the manager he's already swamped with work or behind on him emails,
it might be looked over. It might not be
he might have
addressed.
overlooked it or thought he did it and all that kind of stuff. And so in the most efficient companies and the companies that have themselves put together, I've found the process goes pretty smooth. There's this one particular client that I love them. I send invoice over WhatsApp. It's a big company. I send the invoice over to my contact over WhatsApp, and she send it off to payment, and I get my payment in a week and everything. A matter of fact, I get an email with the payment advice that hey, the payment has been triggered, and I know I can expect that payment in
So
one
you
business
can
day.
from your email trail track the progress of your
So
payment.
I've looked at the previous. So I've even gone and looked at the previous email communication. I'm like, all right, every time I get the payment invoice, I get the business money the next day, so I can almost bank on it.
Right.
Right.
Love that. So I think the advice here for creative starting out is understand the operations.
Yeah. You can because
For your
and I think
client.
government entities operate a little bit different than private entities,
Right.
or at least private sector
Yeah.
entities.
So it's very important that you understand as a creative what the operations are or the policies are in
Yeah.
terms of like payment and communication that you're dealing with, so that you're there's no crossed wires when it comes to
Yeah.
getting paid or who you talk to
Yeah.
when things.
And then it helps
right.
if you're going, especially if you're starting to deal with corporate and government entities. You do want to be, and you want to establish a business.
You want to be
Right.
versed in.
Yeah, you want to go to company's office and register, whether a regular business or register as a company. And there's a difference. You need to go figure out what the difference is between a registered business and a company.
So, I mean, there isn't much left to say at this point. I think you are equipped enough with the first part of this conversation and this conversation to go out there and interact with clients a bit more confidently. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, we're in the AI age. We're in the Google age. I mean, Google is like
At your fingertips. So just
so I mean,
search for stuff.
because that's what I did. I searched for what the difference is between a pro forma invoice and an invoice. What's the difference between a quote and an estimate? These are things you can find out. just you need to have an understanding, and then when you equip yourself with information and you're communicating with these corporate clients, you can better operate in that space. But yeah, you have to educate yourself as a aspiring freelancer, as an aspiring business owner. Yeah, I mean, feel free to engage in the comments if something wasn't clear, or maybe you can share your particular experience, and we can go over it and chat about it. And
that would be nice to add that segment where people share their experiences, and we like go over them. And
because at some point we might do a live. If we get enough questions, we might just do a live.
That'd be
live and answer those questions live. But yeah,
they can also tell us if there are like other people in the industry that would be good to talk to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean that would be great, because we don't know everybody, and I'm already lining up some other guests coming up in the next episode. There's quite a bit of creators who I'm networking with, and I've put them on notice that we'll be talking. There are people who are more not just in the video production space, but like more in the branding and graphic designing and social media operations, because these are areas that I want to also improve in. So yeah, stay tuned. We have some pretty interesting guests coming up. So
again, we didn't rate anything this episode, but again, you can rate us wherever you're listening to this. If you are just listening to this, rate our setup, rate our conversation. Just, I don't know, rate your day. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that.
No,
I still do not have an outro.
We have to get him an intro, bro.
I don't have an outro. So
great chatting with you guys.
Yeah.
Or great chatting with this guy. And we'll engage with you guys in the comments.
Yeah. Take care. Until next time.
Peace out.
Peace.